You've been struggling with making friends. Maybe you feel lonely. You feel like it's hard to find people you really get along with, people you can feel vulnerable with. Now is when this changes, okay? Even if you don't believe in signs from the universe, let's just pretend for a moment that you believe in this. Let's just pretend this is a sign from the universe. Treat it as such. Okay, listen. I used to be incredibly socially anxious, socially awkward. I was completely, oh my God, it was pathetic, okay? And it was very frustrating. And I just, but over time, you know, I just forced myself. I was like, you know what, let me just meet people, go to social events, and it'll be awkward at first. You know, I mean, I quit school when I was 12 years old, okay? And this, as you can imagine, had some negative consequences. I think it can be great. You know, some people manage great when they quit school at 12. But for me, you know, it made it hard to have a social life, certainly as a teenager. And even as a young adult, I was struggling a little bit. But, you know, I just went to these meetups, these social events, and I was awkward for a while. But I still went, you know, and it got better little by little because basically the more you talk to people, the less intimidating it gets, you know? And I really thought I was just socially awkward. I just thought that I was not good socially, that it just wasn't my thing. I identified with that for a while, you know? And I think believing that about myself made it a lot harder. But I could have, you know, I could have kept going like that, just being like a lonely noob, just like a social noob, and just staying socially incompetent, but I didn't. I just put myself out there. And you can do the same thing. And it's just, man, like, how much time have I wasted? You know, how much time did I waste back then? How much time have you wasted thinking that you're just not good? Either thinking that you're not good socially, or thinking that other people are fundamentally boring. Maybe that's what you think, and that's also an obstacle, you know? If you just assume that everyone is boring or that everyone's an asshole, of course you're not going to want to meet people if you believe that about them. And if you believe about yourself that you're a jerk or that you're socially incompetent, it's going to be a lot harder as well, you know? But just take it from me, like some dude who some could have said was destined to be a loser with no friends, you know? It took some time, man. Maybe it's going to take some time for you to not be awkward. But it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. In fact, get yourself in as many awkward situations as you can, and it'll make you stronger. It really will. You'll realize that it's not a big deal. All right? So again, this is your sign, and you can learn how to do this, you know? It's not like you're not bound to your, you know, your genes or your situation, your current situation or whatever. Or you can change things. Just like you can learn how to ride a bike, you can learn how to play the piano, you can learn to be more social, okay? Stop lying to yourself or believing people's lies when they say that you're either social or you're not, you know? When people are like, oh, I'm just an introvert. That's what, I mean, you can be an introvert and be social, by the way. I'm not telling you to not be an introvert. But I'm telling you to not limit yourself by saying, oh, that's just what I am. That's how I am. I'm the kind of guy who just sucks at social interactions. It's like, pay attention to the way you talk to yourself, you know? Stop saying things like I suck at being social. Nobody wants to be my friend. This is all bullshit. It's not true. So for some reason, you're still watching this, so it probably means it's resonating with you. I got plenty of other videos about this. I got a newsletter. We can also work together. You just gotta click the link in the description if you need more personalized help. But even if this is the last time you see my face, just please take it as a sign. You know, it's just, it's about your mental and physical well-being. You know, social connection is the most important when it comes to that. And, you know, and sometimes maybe you're still going to be awkward. I still, you know, I still mess up socially, like whatever. It's just another day. I'll try again tomorrow. I'll try again with the next person, you know. But I really want to emphasize how important this is. Just as important as exercising or as earning money. And I feel like you know this, like intellectually you know this, but for some reason, it's like you don't really know it, because otherwise you would be acting on it. Or maybe you don't love yourself enough to act on it. I don't know what it is. I don't know who you are. Who the hell are you? I don't know. But it's one of those things, like fear of death, you know? Like, intellectually, you're not afraid of death, maybe, but then the fear of death does manifest itself in some other ways that are maybe more subconscious. I don't know what I'm talking about. Why am I talking about death? Anyway, my point is, if you're not really acting on this, on the need, on the importance of having a good social life and building meaningful friendships, then either you don't truly know how important it really is, or you don't respect and love yourself enough to improve your social life. I mean, like, otherwise, why wouldn't you work on this? You know, why would you keep finding excuses to not make friends if you respected and loved yourself, or if you truly knew how important it is? I think that's it, man. It's been like over 7 minutes now. Don't know if anybody's watching this. It's just rambling, but you know, it's just important, and I care. You know, I care about the loneliness epidemic. Okay, so do your part. Do your part in fighting the loneliness epidemic by making friends. By making friends with other men who might also need friends, because so many men out there are also looking for friends. So, you know, stop thinking that nobody wants to be friends with you, or it's gonna seem like you're desperate or whatever. It's all nonsense. All right.